After a one-day hiatus, we are back with day 11 of our Blitz on IUIC, and we're getting into the issue of translation. So let's take a look.
All right, so we got NIV.
And from the outset, I want to admit, I'm not the biggest fan of the NIV. I think it has some real issues in it. Nevertheless, the issues that are going to be raised are not issues at all. It just shows that they have not studied these things and they're simply not informed.
KJV. Let's get into it. All right, so we're going to start with the KJV. We're going to read the book of Jeremiah, chapter 14, verse 2. Let's go. Jeremiah 14:2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground.
And we know the argument that follows. They're black under the ground. They've got black skin. How does that fit this context? The gates languish. They're mourning. Would that make any sense for me to say, oh, I'm mourning, the gates languish, I've got white skin? No. That's completely ridiculous. This is not dealing with skin color as evident from the context, but we'll keep going and we'll see what it really means.
And the cry of Jerusalem is going up. Okay, Jeremiah 14:2, NIV. Judah mourns, her cities languish. They wail for the land, and a cry goes up for Jerusalem. What's taken out? Color.
Let's look at some other translations. The first one being the Legacy Standard Bible. Judah mourns, her gates languish. They sit on the ground in mourning, and the outcry of Jerusalem has gone up. The New American Standard. Judah mourns and her gates languish. They sit on the ground in mourning. The New Revised Standard Version. Judah mourns and her gates languish. They lie in gloom on the ground. The ESV. Judah mourns and her gates languish. Her people lament on the ground. The NLT. Judah wilts. Commerce at the city gates grinds to a halt. All the people sit on the ground in mourning. None of these translations render it black. Why is that? Well, let's keep listening, but we'll find out.
Color is taken out. Let's keep going. Jeremiah chapter 8 and verse 21, KJV. Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 21. For the hurt of the daughter of my people and my hurt, I am black. Astonishment hath taken hold on me.
Here again, what does skin color have to do with anything in this text? It is about mourning. It is about sadness. To try to say this is about skin color is a fundamental issue in comprehension.
Now, let's go to the NIV. Let's see what happens. Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 21, NIV. Since my people are crushed, I am crushed. I mourn and horror grips me. Christians always say color don't matter. Well, if color don't matter,
nobody took it out. The issue is that people don't use the word black in the same way today as they did when the King James Version was translated. If we look at an older dictionary, so we'll look here at Johnson's dictionary. Now let's note what Johnson's dictionary is. This is just from Google as a summary. A dictionary of the English language is a landmark 1755 dictionary compiled by Samuel Johnson. And what does it say under black? Notice the definitions of the color of night. Dark, so the heaven was black with clouds and wind. Cloudy of countenance, sullen. She hath abated me of half my train. Looked black upon me. Horrible, wicked, atrocious. Either my country never must be freed, or I consented to so black a deed. But now notice this last one. Dismal, mournful. A dire introduction am I witness to, and will to France, hoping the consequence will prove as bitter, black, and tragical. This is the definition that falls under what the King James Version is using in those texts in Jeremiah. It is in no way pertaining to skin color. So the reason we don't see black in the modern translations is because we just don't usually use that meaning for black anymore. But the concept is well expressed in even the Hebrew lexicons. Here is Brown, Driver, and Briggs. And notice as we get towards the bottom, it specifically calls out Jeremiah 8:21 and 14:2. And what does it say? figurative of mourning, probably be squalid, of neglected person, and dress of mourner. So that's the meaning in the text. That's what's denoted by it. And the term black in English, in the days the King James Version was translated, well, it had that meaning. But again, we simply don't use it that way today.
Why they take it out? It gotta make sense. Watch this now. Let's go to Matthew chapter 17, verse 21 in the NIV. Let's see what it says. Matthew chapter 17, verse 21. Matthew chapter 17, verse 21. Not in the NIV Bible? Maybe I'm tripping.
No, you simply haven't taken the time to educate yourself on Scripture, the transmission of the text, and textual criticism. Let's look at a footnote from the New English Translation and find why modern Bibles do not contain this verse. It says, many significant manuscripts do not include 1721. The verse is included in the listed manuscripts, but is almost certainly not original. As Metzger notes, since there is no satisfactory reason why the passage, if originally present in Matthew, should have been omitted in a wide variety of witnesses, and since copyists frequently inserted material derived from another gospel, it appears that most manuscripts have been assimilated to the parallel in Mark 9:29. So what it's saying is that this text exists in Mark's account, but the early manuscripts and a variety of manuscripts do not have it in Matthew's account. And there was a scribal tendency when there were two parallel accounts and one would omit something that was in the other, the scribe would take it and add it to the place where it was omitted. And that is likely the situation here.
Let's go to Mark chapter 7, verse 16. Mark chapter 7, verse 16, not in the NIV Bible.
Fortunately, we have the answer. Most later manuscripts add 7:16. Let anyone with an ear to hear listen. The verse is included in the listed manuscripts, but is lacking in significant Alexandrian manuscripts and a few others. It appears to be a scribal gloss, perhaps introduced as a reiteration of the thought in 7:14, and is almost certainly not an original part of the Greek text of Mark. So here again, this appears, based upon the evidence in the manuscripts, to have been added later, and that is why you're not finding it in the modern Bible translations.
What the hell going on here? Hold on. Luke 17:36. Hold on. Luke 17:36. Luke 17:30.
And here's the answer. Several manuscripts add 17:36. There will be two in the field, one will be taken and the other left. It is not well enough attested to be original. Further, it is an assimilation to the parallel in Matthew 24:40, which marks the addition as secondary. So here again, scribes took this from a different place and added it in. It's found in Matthew's account. It was not original to Luke.
6 not here either? What the hell is this? All you Christians reading the NIV and this verse is missing? What the hell wrong with y'all, man?
It's not that verses are missing. It's that you're dependent on a version that has verses that were added. But what are the facts? Well, for one, you're dependent on Christians to have the New Testament canon. You're dependent upon Christians to have translations of the Bible. So maybe you should study what Christians say about the text and textual criticism and why some verses are not there before you go making arguments and comments about what should and shouldn't be there, because you simply don't know what you're talking about.